If there is something that you're going through or there's something that you've been putting off, take this as your sign to go out there, take action on it. Maybe it's just one small step towards it, and then you gain some momentum, and by the end of the week, it's done, right? And yeah, just take this as your sign. What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to another episode on The Morning Takeaway. I am happy you are here. I'm going to be pretty honest here because I have no clue where this podcast is going. And I kind of have an idea of where I want to loop it all back in. But basically, I want to give you a little rerun of the past, I guess what's today, Wednesday? The past 5 days, just kind of give you a rerun of my life. And as you know, you kind of have a feel for how I live my life, different certain practices, and whatever. We'll get into it. And then loop it into how I've been feeling today and yesterday, and essentially what brought me to film this exact podcast. So before we get into it, if you don't mind, if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the like button on this video. It helps me out more than you know. And then give me a comment. Send me a little comment. What do you want to hear more of? Maybe I'll say something today that resonates with you, or maybe you've been going through a little bit of what I've been going through, or you felt it before. And to be clear, there's nothing crazy happening with me. It's all within my control. But again, so like, comment, subscribe, and if you aren't or haven't already, hit the bell icon because that'll give you first notification when I post, right? So, and that also helps me out. The earlier you get in to watch my videos and the longer you watch my videos, the more it helps me out. So, and if I'm boring, feel free to cut me off. That's okay too, because it's a free world. So anyways, let's jump into it. Let's see where this thing goes. And there's no time limit, there's no nothing, but I'm just going to get on here and kind of rant. So let's backtrack to last Wednesday. So a week ago, I was invited out to work with a brand on an obstacle course in Valencia, California, which is Santa Clarita area north of Los Angeles. I was going to be there for Wednesday and Thursday, and then I was also lucky enough to be invited to the Gymshark event. Be on the lookout for that video on Sunday. There's probably going to be a couple parts to it. Pretty fun. So I was then in Venice Beach and for the Gymshark event. And then right after that, I came home to Newport Beach, which is about an hour and a half drive, packed up another bag and skedaddled to Palm Springs and spent my time in Palm Springs until yesterday morning, so Tuesday morning, where I golfed almost every day, had a lot of really nice dinners, a lot of food, a lot of wine, some alcohol, and that kind of culmination has led me to where I am. And before I, get into it even further, I want to talk about just this active, travel lifestyle, right? So when you are traveling on the road, for me, I get anxiety when I as you know, if you follow me on Instagram, that I'm really always traveling, and it's hard for me to be in one spot, and I'm not complaining, but I definitely get anxiety in the thought that it's I'm super type, my personality, I love to be structured, right? And I have to have things in place. I have to follow my routine. And every single day the past 5 days, I've woken up at 5:30 still, because I'm trying to do everything that aligns with my routine, right? And it's kind of fun for me to try to see, okay, how can I eat? How can I keep my routine the same? How can I keep everything in line to be as close as possible to how I live my life, right? And it's kind of a game in some weird psycho way for me, but at the same time, I definitely get this certain level of anxiety when I know that I go on these trips that are going to be maybe a little less productive. Or like for example, when that first morning I woke up, I was up at like 5 a.m. and jumped in the pool to cold plunge at before 6, whatever. And I'm out there doing work and my buddy's just like making fun of me, which is just how he is. And that's okay. But it's like, I knew what I was getting myself into and preparing myself because, for lack of a better way to describe it, just I knew I wasn't going to have as much time, so I created the time, right? It was important to me to get all my work done and my posts ready and my answering my comments and messages and yada, 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 right? So I made sure that I created that time. But without going too much on a tangent, when you live this travel lifestyle, and I'm sure there are some of you that are out there that might be on the way to work right now listening to this. It's my favorite time to listen to podcasts, or in the kitchen, whatever it might be. But if you have to work and travel, or you just travel in general, like, or another example, because this is where it gets the worst, is when I know that I'm going to be drinking with my friends. That's when my anxiety goes through the roof, because I know it's just poison, and I know I'm going to love it. I'm going to have a great time, and like, I'll keep it real with you. Like, yes, I drink, and I try to be in moderation and make the smart decisions, right? But sometimes it goes off the rails, and that's just the reality of it. And I think that's probably what led me to this. But again, everything goes into it. It's not just the alcohol, right? It's the decisions we make when we're eating, or the decisions that we make when we're on the road. Like eating, for example, like snacks, especially when you travel, there is not much good that's going to come from snacks unless you're going to Whole Foods and buying like a cucumber and maybe some, like even like any chips. They're not great, right? Just, if you're going to snack, try to get something that's maybe, I don't know, like go to a Whole Foods where they have already prepared like the hot bar or whatever. Like a cucumber is a great snack, like, right? It's a crunchy, it's going to help you de-bloat, anti-inflammation, yada, yada. But all of my point is that when we're on the road and when we're maybe getting out of our routine, we have to figure out how to stay in our routine. And that's rooted back in our values, right? And it's like, if you value your health and you value your fitness and you value the way you feel, because that's probably top of the list for me, because when you eat like crap and you drink like crap, you feel it. And I think that's one thing. If there's one skill I could wish on anybody, especially when it comes to nutrition, it would be, I don't even know if it's a skill, but the ability to recognize how you feel after you eat certain things. Because like, oh, you just ate that ice cream, like you feel really good, then you crash. Well, then it starts, the way your body metabolizes it, it's nothing good's going to come out of it, right? Like, and don't get me wrong, I love my ice cream, but certain time, certain place, and don't let it stack up, right? So with that said, on the food, I definitely got off the wagon these past 5 days. I had great dinners, steaks, had swordfish, some lean meats, veggies, everything, right? So it was great. During the day, I could have chosen to fast. I did not. And there's a part of this self-acceptance side of it. And I'm just realizing again, like, I had no idea where this podcast is going, but this is great. I'm loving it. The self-acceptance of just like, hey, you didn't do it. Like, I'm facing reality now, and now I'm facing the consequences, because now we're day 2 after being home and I still feel like crap, right? So as you know, I intermittent fast. I try to stay away from gluten. I try to, eat things that are good for my gut, because I'm a huge believer in gut health and the way it communicates with our brain and all of that. But all of this culmination of things, right? Like, I was able to get through it. Like, the first night I got super slammed, and the next morning I was running at 6:30 a.m. And that's kind of the good part of it. But also, like, then that same day, I went out and did it again. Like, not too much, but still was drinking here and there, and then had a good amount of wine that night. And then fast forward to, I guess it was Tuesday morning, the night that we were coming home, and I worked out that morning. I literally put a story up saying I sat in the parking lot staring at the gym. I thought about turning around. I was so close to it. And in my journal that morning, I wrote as my intention to just show up, to go through the motions if you have to. And it hit me, and I was like, all right, I'm here. I have shown up. I am going in there and I am going to at least go through the motions. And what happens? You go through there, you get started, and you have the best workout ever. Usually on those days when you have the no motivation or less motivation, you have the best workout ever, right? You come out feeling on top of the world. And excuse me. And so I literally had that feeling right then and there. So it was all starting to kind of culminate like, wow, I feel really crappy. And here's a comment for you. I've never cussed on social media. What do you guys think about cussing on social media? Is that like I've been beginning to like play with the idea because I think cussing is hilarious, but I also am just receptive to both sides of that, right? So anyways, off topic. So I wasn't feeling well. And I went through it. I literally felt like I was going to throw up. And then after I got done with my workout, I put that story up. I was feeling great. And then it hit me again. And I was like, whoa, I've got something going on with my stomach. Started in the middle, like in my abs, and then came down to like the bottom right side. And I'm like, wow, this is my appendix. Like, what if I have an appendicitis? And I've been eating here and there. I got something stuck in my throat. And it has not gone away. So the past 2 days, yesterday included, and today, I did not want to film my workout for my workout Wednesday. I did not want to film this podcast. I did not want to go to the gym. I haven't wanted to do anything that was on my, what I call my productivity list or my to-do list. And as I've shown you guys this before, right here, the handy dandy strike throughs, right? Today, everything is being striked through, even though I didn't want to, right? And I think that is where I want to loop all of this in. And the takeaway from this whole 11-minute story of my past few days is that the idea that you don't feel like it, that whole, oh, I don't feel like it, that creeps into all of our minds at some point or another, right? Oh, I don't feel like it. Well, what does that do? And what is that? To me, that's just neglecting things, right? And if you neglect it, if I neglected filming my workout Wednesday, and it's going to be a later post today, as it is Wednesday right now. I finished filming it earlier today, and it's getting edited, and I'm going to post it, but it's still getting out there. I'm supposed to film this podcast today. I toyed with that voice in my head multiple times. I'm not going to film that podcast. I'll just make up something in my head to make myself feel better about doing it tomorrow, right? Putting it off. And then I was like, wait. And I literally said to myself, like, oh, I don't feel like doing it today. And then I was like, wait, that is the perfect topic for this podcast, because what are you talking about, Nick? Like, how far away do you want to get away from your values and the standard that you hold yourself to? And ultimately, what is your identity? I talk about it all the time. So my point is that I don't feel like it turns into that neglection turns into something that you're going to put it off tomorrow when you have other things to do tomorrow, and now it becomes even more in your face, right? And if you just approach it head on, you do it, you get it done, you feel so much better about yourself. And the self-confidence there, you're doing something that you said you were going to do when you're going to do it, when you said you were going to do it. And it's the whole idea, like, this is so stupid, but it's the same thing as like, hey, the trash is piled up, but I'm still going to keep putting every wrapper or every piece of trash on top of the trash. It's like, no, just take it out, because the longer you leave it there, the heavier that trash is going to get, and the more pain in the butt it is going to be to take it out. It's the same idea as when you do your dishes. Oh, my dishes are dirty. I'll do them later on tonight. Then they don't get done. Then you see them first thing in the morning. Like, you feel like crap about yourself. Wow, I didn't do that. Oh, I got to clean those later. And it's just another thing that you have to do, and it always piles up, right? You don't let your responsibilities and your tasks and things that you value and see as important in your life, don't neglect those things. Like, this is important to me. This podcast is important to me. You guys are important to me. Filming the workout Wednesday, putting all the content out, that stuff is important to me. And just because I made a few bad decisions and now I'm reaping the consequences of that, doesn't mean it's an excuse. That is so far away from where I align with myself, right? So it was looking myself in the mirror and realizing in that moment, like, I don't feel like it. Like, oh, wait, how do you change that and say, screw you, Nick, I am, like, do it. And, like, just to be transparent, like, I feel so good. Like, this might be my favorite podcast that I've ever done, honestly. Just being real with you guys, and, like, I always am, but, like, I felt like crap, and, like, I feel so much better just even before I did this podcast, and I was telling myself that I would do it tomorrow. I was already feeling better, but it's just it's so much more relieving and fulfilling when you get those things done. Like, maybe I just spent 20 more minutes of my life to film it. That's okay. That's what I value. But think about that tomorrow and the time and effort that you're putting into that task that you don't want to do. And now you put 5 minutes into it today saying, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't feel like it. 5 minutes thinking about that. Well, then tomorrow, 5 minutes, you're going to think about it again saying, I don't want to do it again. Now you've wasted 10 minutes of your life. Then you actually do it. Now we've wasted double the time, right? And it's just that idea of, like, hey, if you can approach it head on, and if there's something like the simplest thing at work or a conversation that you're dreading at work that might not be so simple, just do it, right? Like, we've all had those dreaded conversations with a boss or somebody higher up or whatever, and then you go in and you get it done and you feel great after. It's just like and then you look and you're like, why did I just feel so anxious and so worried about that conversation? Like, it was great. So maybe the moral of the story and the takeaway for me is that taking action is the single-handed most valuable piece of taking action is, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Taking action is the key. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I can't get all philosophy-esque. Can't go Albert Einstein on you right now, Aristotle on you. But you get the point. And I think that's all I got. I just wanted to put that out there. And if there is something that you're going through or there's something that you've been putting it off, take this as your sign to go out there, take action on it. Maybe it's just one small step towards it, and then you gain some momentum, and by the end of the week, it's done, right? And yeah, just take this as your sign. So I hope you took something away. If you did, please share it with somebody that might be able to take something else away. Before we close this thing out, we're going to end with a random question on the generator here. So I'm going to generate a random question. What is your opinion on tattoos? Wow. Honestly, that's an easy answer for me. One, I don't have any tattoos, but that doesn't mean I'm against them. I will only get a tattoo if there's something or someone or whatever it is so meaningful to me that I would want it as a constant reminder for that meaning to live on me, right? I've actually thought about getting 86,400 tattooed on my wrist. So every time I put my watch on, I see that because that's where my watch goes. And that's how many seconds you have in a day, right? I've talked about that before. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. But I stopped myself because I wanted to make sure that I was living by that phrase every single day consistently before I actually did it, if that makes sense. So my opinion on tattoos would probably be, and when I said it was an easy question, this is where my brain went, I think tattoos are sick. I think they are awesome. Especially, like, I think they're so, I think obviously, it's art. And I think I have a very genuine appreciation and I don't know what the word is. I guess appreciation for tattoo artists, people that get tattoos. Like, I just think they're sick because everybody does have a meaning, and if they don't, they at least put, like, it's an art masterpiece for them. And I think that's really cool because just the same as I can be passionate about health and wellness and fitness and helping people, somebody could be passionate about the art on their body, right? And, like, that is genuinely what binds us all together, right? And that's what should bind us together. Everybody should be accepting of each other. Like, I don't get the whole judgment around somebody else because they have a tattoo or they have a piercing, whatever it is, right? Like, that, I just don't get it. It doesn't, like, everybody is equal. And yeah, so we're ending on a heavy note. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to get off this page. And yeah, as I said, I didn't know where that podcast was going. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought. It was a little bit longer of a podcast, but that's all right. That's all right. And I will see you next time. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Comment what you want to hear more of, something that you may have taken away. If you just want to have a conversation in the comment section, I always reply. Don't forget to like this video. Hit the bell icon. I sound like a broken record. I will see you next time this weekend for the Gymshark video. Be on the lookout for that. I hope you have an awesome freaking day, and don't forget to smile.